good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's Harry from Spursy TV back on a match reaction video. Bournemouth 3, Tottenham 2. Another loss. Where should we begin? So let's talk about the starting lineup. The back five kind of picks itself at this point. So Romero, Van der Ven, Porro, Spence, and Vicario. The midfield, though, was Bentancur and Paulinho, which was a pleasant surprise. If I'm being honest, I've not been that impressed with Archie Gray. But obviously, as you know, Kudus is out for 2 months. So Bergvall came in on the right. Tell retained his place, but switched to left. And Xavi came in as a number 10. And Mwani was a replacement for Richarlison. As you know, we have got Villa in the cup on the weekend, but I thought that did kind of play a part in the team selection because I think Richarlison will probably play against Villa now. But let's get into the game. Surprisingly, Spurs took the lead in the first 5 minutes from a pretty good goal by Tell. If I'm being honest, Tell was probably Spurs' best player on the day. And I've been one who's been very critical of Tell, but he was the only one today who I felt was really, really trying to do something at least compared to the others. But the first half, 1-0 up, and you would have thought Spurs would be able to retain the lead. But after a lot of defensive mishaps, Romero lets Valentin come up in the air and head an equaliser. And of course, can't play the name right, Bournemouth going to the half-time 2-1 up, which apparently is the 4th time this has happened this season. And I think Spurs rank one of the highest in this happening. So when they've taken the lead, they've actually gone, as in scored first, and then they've gone to half-time losing 2-1. So yeah, not great reading. So Spurs were 2-1 down at half-time. Surprisingly, no changes were made. And the second half kind of carried on where the first left off. And then Bournemouth were kind of pressing to make it 3-1. But in Spurs' defence, we were trying to get the equaliser. And it did come eventually. We had one not disallowed penalty, but Van der Ven, who was the only one I thought who's consistent in this team, I think at this point. Even Romero, not very consistent, but Van der Ven ran half the pitch, kind of reminiscent of his goal in the Champions League. And he got, supposedly, we thought he got pinned down in the box. Now, I was maybe in a minority here, but I didn't think it was a penalty from the off because I don't think Brooks even got him. And then he clearly dived at the end with Gill. So I didn't think it was a penalty. And it went to VAR because the referee initially gave it. And it got rescinded. And I wasn't really surprised. But Van der Ven gets booked for his descent to the... I think it was for the booking, actually. But he did do some dissent to the referee. And I thought he was going to get another booking, actually, at that point. But we seemed to fight back. Richarlison came on late on. Odegaard came on. It was a forced change because Bergvall came down injured. And it kind of helped actually when Odegaard came on. He was trying to do stuff. Out of, I guess, Odegaard, Tell, and all these other youngsters, Odegaard probably is the most one I kind of have more faith in doing something. That doesn't say much though. But Odegaard did make a difference, I thought, even though it was a forced change. And Richarlison made a massive difference when he came on. He threw himself about. And eventually Spurs scored from the equaliser, unsurprisingly from a set piece, or as a result of a set piece. The ball comes in. Again, there's a bit of a melee in the box, and Paulinho scores an overhead kick. He's actually one of our top scorers this season, but he seemed to have a great game today. I know we lost, but he had a great game. At 2-2, Spurs were kind of in the ascendancy, at least for 5 to 10 minutes. And this is quite late on in the game, actually, so we're talking 70-ish minutes. And I thought we might actually get the third. Van der Ven had a header which was looping in, and I thought it was going in, and he saved it. Richarlison had a few half chances, and I thought Spurs would win it. But as Spurs do, and Spurs, he never dies, I guess. I hate to say it. But Semenyo, who done nothing all game, turns on, I can't remember who it was, but he turns, it basically came from a Spence mistake, but the fact it was Semenyo, who clearly was playing his last game because he got taken off after this, turns and just bangs it into the bottom left-hand corner, right-hand corner. And I was just couldn't be written any differently. Semenyo, who actually haunted us in the home game. So Bournemouth did a double over us now this season. And Semenyo goes and scores the winner. And Frank looks shocked on the bench. I think we're all kind of stunned. But you couldn't have written it any other way. Semenyo's last game against Spurs, and he breaks Bournemouth's winless run, which was almost 12 games until they played us. So they'd not won a game in 11, and then they play Spurs and they win a game. As they say, Dr. Tottenham. But you couldn't have written any better. I for one, thought was like them winning was quite unlucky on us. I actually thought a draw was probably more of a fair result. But I guess Semenyo is a difference in quality. That's the only way I can put it. I know he's leaving Bournemouth now, but he's a difference in quality, because if they didn't have him on the pitch, I think it would have ended 2-2. So yeah, another loss. It doesn't look great for us. We're still on 27 points, stuck in 14th. But we've got Villa in the cup, which now becomes, again, the mother must win, especially because I don't see us winning the Champions League. But can Frank turn it around? Unless we buy some more players and better players, I just don't see how we're going to break the rot. Vinay was in the crowd, ex-Arsenal man again, but I don't know, like, unless we go out and actually sign some players, I don't see any difference. And I'm not talking about these 19-year-olds and 18-year-olds we've been linked with. Like, Diamande's 19. I know he's really highly rated, but we need to sign some players that are going to make an impact straight away. And I'm talking like Premier League level players, ideally, because we can't, like, get a Neves or a Gallagher, because even though they're playing abroad, at least they played in the Premier League, and put them into that midfield, because we're really struggling there. I think that's the biggest issue with us, is that we just can't control a game, and we can't control the midfield. And today was a little bit better because he played Paulino and Bentancur, which a lot of people have been against, but it kind of reflected correctly, because when Gray came on, I thought was really poor. And Bergvall, for all his effort, which I can't fault him for, he didn't really have that much of an effect in the game. He had one half chance with a shot, but he was, to be fair to him, playing on the right wing. But this is what I mean. A lot of our youngsters, I still don't know what position they're supposed to be playing. Like, even Tell today, which I'll give Masha credit for, I still don't know where he should be playing. I thought he did well on the left today. And the previous game he was all right, but is that his position? Because some people say, oh, well, he can play in the middle. If I'm being honest, from what I've seen of him, I think Odobert should probably be on the left, and Tell should probably be playing off striker, like a second striker. But that's just my take on the player. But again, at some point, we're going to have to cut half these youngsters to buy first teamers, because we can't afford to be like this. Because we need experience right now. We're in a rut, and we need some experience to come in and make a difference straight away. And we've still done nothing in the transfer market. We let Johnson go, fair enough. But we've not really replaced him, and we've not really added to what we already have anyway. So we need to go out and do some transfer business, or we're kind of screwed. And on to Villa again. Hope we can sneak a 1-0 or something, because it's going to be a very hard game. I know Villa drew to Palace tonight, away from home. And come on, you Spurs.